What Brandon Carr and the FCC did to Jimmy Kimmel is clearly First Amendment coercion. I don't think there's any debate, but here's Bill O'Reilly arguing the opposite point, of course, saying that it wasn't censorship. Now the right wing has become the party of defending silencing. So here he is.
Well, what Kimmel did is inexplicable to me. And maybe he'll come on your show and explain it to you or my show, the No Spin News. He had to know on Monday in his dialogue how raw the country was over this assassination of Charlie Kirk.
All right, before we continue, I just want to say that that's a very good point. The country was very raw. The news was also very raw. There were plenty of people out there making decent arguments online for this guy, Tyler Robinson, being Republican. His whole family was Republican. This was before we got the big, releases of evidence that he's most likely of the left. But that's kind of immaterial, to be honest. It was one line in his show. He probably didn't read over it that much. It's immaterial because what Jimmy Kimmel said was not wrong. There was an immense MAGA effort to prove that this guy was of the left and not one of them. It was just the way that he said it, the tonality, for some reason, that made people think he was saying Tyler Robinson was MAGA. No, what he said was absolutely correct. There was a bunch of MAGA extremists, pro-violence people, just trying to paint this guy as someone of the left to incite a civil war attitude, a complete rage towards the left. Elon Musk tweeted, "The left is the party of murder," as people well know, right? These are the kind of people that Jimmy Kimmel is talking about. He's not making, in my estimation, a judgment about what he thinks is Tyler Robinson's ideology, but let's keep going.
He had to know that. And to use his monologue, which is usually comedic, to mislead the entire country by implying that MAGA, Trump supporters, were really behind the murder. To do that, I'm saying you have a battery of writers, you have a producer on your program. Didn't no one red flag you on this?
Again, that's because his writers actually knew what the statement meant, unlike you. And by the way, this guy, Bill O'Reilly's here is implying actual malice in Jimmy Kimmel's statement. So you're going beyond the fact that you're going beyond the presupposition that this was just a simple factual error, and he was actually trying to mislead the public with this. He's applying intent, and if he did have that malintent, then the FCC would have good grounds to revoke licenses of stations that broadcast Disney's ABC. Of course, that's what the public interest principle is. For FCC, they can take your license if they find you're acting with malice against the public interest. That is what Bill O'Reilly's hinging his argument on. But that goes, I believe, 2 layers deeper with insanity than what actually happened on Jimmy Kimmel's show. I don't even think he was factually wrong. I think he was just pointing out that MAGA people online were trying to desperately politicize the event, defend Trump for not saying we should all calm down and condemning political violence, right? They were trying to point it at the left. They were trying to make the left is the party of murder argument. Because they wanted to legitimately separate this guy from any of their politics. So if he came out and had one MAGA position, that would have compromised that kind of talking point from the right. So what he said was absolutely accurate. You can do a secondhand implication of what he said and then come away with, a fraction of what Bill O'Reilly is accusing Kimmel of doing.
Did no one say anything about this? This isn't about censorship, all right? This is about responsibility. And as you pointed out correctly, every corporation has a responsibility to make sure the product it is selling is an honest product. And by saying that MAGA might have been responsible for murder, not only is that defamatory, but it's outrageous. And then I turned on CNN, which has booked all the guests that hate Trump, the same usual suspects that you wouldn't book Cuomo. Look up in a minute. People are saying, what is Cuomo reading when he's interviewing you? And I say, he's got a battery of comic books that he likes to go to when he's listening to me.
This is also known as the question sheet for Bill O'Reilly. But go ahead.
Yeah, but
some
you
people
know, you
actually
don't need
think
a
about
sheet.
the interview beforehand. I need
Yeah,
a
but
sheet.
you're not
I like to
Larry
do
King.
homework.
You don't need a
Go
sheet.
ahead. Keep talking, Bill.
Okay.
Just keep talking. Don't worry about my process.
CNN. They book a whole battery of guests that hate Trump, that come in and scream about censorship and Trump's behind this and all of that. I can tell you Trump's not behind it. All right. He didn't even know about it. He was asleep in England. I gave him a flag because, he needs to know about it.
I don't really care if Trump was involved. I don't care what he did on that day. But what I do know is that Brandon Carr literally threatened the broadcasters to take away their licenses. Used clear coercion. We have cases. We have NRA versus Volo, recent Supreme Court case. It outlines exactly what you need for First Amendment coercion. This was a clear case of First Amendment coercion because he gave a clear threat to the companies. That is why this is absurd. No, that's not what I care about. Like, I don't really care about the societal implications of Jimmy Kimmel getting fired. I just cared about the fact that MAGA is so absurdly sensitive to anything that is remotely off base or can be interpreted as off base relating to the Charlie Kirk assassination. That is what is very infuriating to me, and to the point that they're going to do something that is clearly illegal in my estimation to prevent that. So Bill O'Reilly trying to say that this is Jimmy Kimmel is trying to blame the murder on MAGA. No, he never made the judgment that Tyler Robinson was MAGA and that he was ordered by the Proud Boys to carry out this murder. And by the way, he could have been of the right. There are plenty of people of the right who the grippers who would like to kill Charlie Kirk, who think he's like a show for Israel or whatever angle of attack they're going to come from, or if they're super fundamentalists. It is very possible. And Trump has been friendly to those groups, friendly to the far right. He does not disavow them. He goes on Fox and Friends and says the far right just want more of the same good stuff I want. They just want no crime. They just want a secure border. That's all they want. That's all the Proud Boys want, right? There's no comparison here. What Jimmy Kimmel said was absolutely acceptable, and what ABC did is justifiable in the context of the coercion and the pressure coming from the government, the executive branch, from Brandon Carr, the FCC, that was threatening. You don't take that legal risk if you're a company. You just let go of the show. It's much better. You're much better off. And Trump loves doing this kind of coercion, just throwing out lawsuits at the New York Times, for example, and just using it as a bargaining chip. Same thing here with threatening to revoke licenses, even if he wasn't going to do it. I'm talking about Brandon Carr. It's still coercion under the Supreme Court's definition, because number one, they acted as if it was coercion. Nothing happened after Monday. It all happened after Brandon Carr went on that podcast and started making comments about how he was going to take away these broadcasting licenses. It was all a response to that. Directly saying to these companies, you have to take this guy off or I'm going to do it myself. All right, that's all I have to say for this video. Pretty good video. I like Bill O'Reilly. At least he's not totally insane, but 3 out of 10 take. Not a good time to be a late night host. And I still think they're funny, by the way.